Before we start today's episode, I'm excited to announce that Coin Corner have decided to continue their sponsorship of this podcast. If you haven't heard me talk about Coin Corner before, I spoke about them a lot during season 4 of Behind the Glass. They essentially make the world of buying and trading Bitcoin and cryptocurrency easier than ever. I'm sure lots of you have heard about Bitcoin in the news. Maybe you have friends who are constantly talking about it, or maybe you yourself are someone who buys and trades Bitcoin. Well, head over to coincorner.com/STG, because whether you're any of those people, I guarantee you'll find more information and an easier way to trade cryptocurrencies than ever before using Coin Corner. When you use that link, coincorner.com/STG, or my code STG when you sign up, you'll get some free SAT, which is sort of a very small unit of a Bitcoin. Bitcoin's value now is very high, and so therefore actually buying one whole Bitcoin fairly expensive. So you can trade SAT, smaller increments of a Bitcoin, and yes, you'll get those free when you use that link, coincorner.com/STG, or my code STG when you sign up. I realize cryptocurrency is still a controversial subject, so if you want to find out more, if you want to learn more, and if you want to get trading, head over once more to Coin Corner. Thank you to them for being back and sponsoring the episode. Let's crack on.
Hello one and all, and welcome to Behind the Glass. I'm your host, Sam, from the YouTube channel Seen Through Glass.
And I'm Tony from Gravelwood Car Sales.
Yes, you are. Each week we get together, we talk about cars, motorsport, F1, what else? Cars? We talk about cars. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can watch us on youtube.com/Behind the Glass. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. And Tony, if people want to support this podcast, what should they do?
Watch it.
No. But also head to Patreon. You can support us on patreon.com/Behind the Glass. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Now, I know this is like episode 3 of season 5 of the podcast.
We just got back.
But we are finally settled into our new area.
It's been so odd, like doing just live episodes all the time.
So we had a 3-week break, then we came back and did 2 Behind the Glass live events.
Yeah.
And now finally we're getting back into what feels like normality for the podcast.
Yeah.
Kind of odd, isn't it?
Really odd, yeah. There's no people there.
The live events were amazing, though.
They were really
We love
good.
the live events, but it is quite nice to just be you and I, Tony.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is our new backdrop. For those of you watching here on YouTube, welcome to the new setup for season 5. We've moved around STG HQ just to kind of break it up and change it up. It's going to be a bit of a work in progress behind us. I want to keep adding and changing things up for the backdrop. Tony is like fully merched up for season 5. You've gone all out with the Behind the Glass. That's actually a staff t-shirt from one of the live events.
Is it?
It is, yeah. It's what like the parking guy.
What'd you give me some for then?
Well, I had a spare one.
Are they for sale?
Those ones aren't yet, but
They're going to be.
yeah, so basically, obviously patrons, you get some bits when you sign up, and there's actually some more bits coming, especially for those of you who've been around for a while, so stay tuned for that. But we also wanted to offer some Behind the Glass bits for those of you that aren't patrons but want to still buy some merchandise. Unbelievable, people want to...
Fit nicely as well.
Well, I think...
I've got a top on underneath me.
Oh, okay, I was going to say you could have done with a large.
This is large. And I've got a top on underneath.
Could have done with an extra.
No, it just come up big. Well, I'm not that big.
Sure, okay, well anyway, that's just, but you're trying to sell a shirt which isn't a product. So you're doing a bad job, so just leave it out, mate.
I should have put it on.
Yeah. Here we are, ready for a relatively normal episode, a relatively straightforward episode. A few things to discuss, but really I want to address something which we've been putting off during the live events, but also we haven't really had a chance to talk about because we took our time off, which is the insanity of the used car market.
Yeah.
At least over the last, 3 to 6 months. It was building just before we ended season 4. But yeah, over the summer I feel like it went mad, and values, hey, correct me if I'm wrong, gone through the roof on so many cars that you wouldn't have expected to be the case.
Basically everything. Yeah.
Everything. So yeah, we're going to come back to that. But then obviously our friends at Autocar, who always help us out with amazing topics, have come up with a gem today. Great cars, sure to be future classics. We're almost sponsored by Autocar at this point, considering how much we use their articles, but it's because we do love Autocar.
Yeah.
We slag them off sometimes, but we do love them. Yeah, because...
Well, you do.
Sometimes their lists are awful.
Oh, okay. Then yes, we do.
Yeah. But anyway, this one, I had a quick peek. I don't want to go through all of them, but there's some interesting shouts in here. Yeah, I wonder whether maybe we start with that and then use it as a way to come on to the current market.
Okay.
What did you turn up in today, by the way?
A45S. I'm still in
using
there.
that a lot.
No, well, it's going for a service on Thursday, so I'll stop using it then. But it's just because I've just been in it. You know, I went to the airport and I come back in it.
I get the feeling you quite like it.
I do quite like it. Yeah. If, like to nip around in and that. It's good on fuel. You know, it's small, compact, fast, got all the technology in it. It's just
got
all right.
Something too. It's got some pizzazz. Right?
Yeah, got a bit of character as well. Obviously, the big elephant in the room is the price of the car. But as we know, new cars are a lot of money now.
Is that the latest super hatch? Because we've got RS3 coming, but it hasn't hit the road yet.
It's called a hyper hatch. We would call it a hyper hatch.
Hyper hatch. Oh, that's such a great segment. So from BMW, the M140.
No, that's just a normal hot hatch. You'd probably M2 comp. It's not a hatch, but you know, M2 comp, A45S and RS3. They're the probably three competitors.
Fine.
The M2's a coupe car, so
of course.
But in terms of power and price and segment, you'd probably compare them three.
And they're all out of sync a little bit, aren't they? Because you know, M2's coming, but we don't know much about it yet. RS3's been unveiled, but hasn't hit the road. So A45 is the sort of most recent one, but now, what, a couple of years old now?
Yeah.
18 months.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, 2020, I think it came out.
But it's still attractive. And I mentioned before, I quite like the CLAs. When I see the CLA 45Ss, I'm like, oh, hello.
Yeah. They're just, I mean, they are a lot of money, but so is the new RS3 and the new M2 comp.
If you want to be in that sector, get the cash out.
Yeah. I was offered a new shape M3 today. I didn't buy it. It was too much money, to be honest. But yeah, they're 80 grand, mate.
Oh my God, there was a stunning red one, dark
I just
red.
saw it. I just saw it. It's lovely.
How good does that look?
Yeah, they do look good, but
they
they're
look
just
mega.
Bearing in mind, I mean, not at the moment. We're going to talk about it later, but in general, M cars have a huge poo in the first two.
Huge poo. Like you just had about 20 minutes ago. Sorry to reveal your
I was in
life.
there for 20 minutes.
I'm glad you didn't do that in the studio.
First 2 years, you know, they normally depreciate and then they level off. So, yeah, as a used car, there's no point buying one now.
Yeah, it's, well, you know, but I've said it a while. I'm coming around to M3, M4s, and yeah, that stunning red one outside really caught my eye. And Alexander's Prestige have a really nice black M4, but then with the orange interior, the like carbon
new shape one.
Yeah, the new shape one.
You know what I think they've done with that new car? They have made it a bit more grown up. I think the previous models, mind you, going back then, they probably were grown up, but I think, you know, they probably attract an older audience now. They look a bit more, bit like the M5, where they're a little bit more understated. You know what it is when you see it because of the 4 exhaust and the bigger arches, but it doesn't shout at you. A bit like an RS6, it doesn't really shout at you like the old ones used to.
Have you driven the new one yet?
Not the new M3 or 4, no.
So I think, and this is what I said after I first experienced it, they've also made the sort of dynamics grow up. It's a softer, more usable, less blunt tool.
It looks like it.
Yeah, the old M3 M4 was just sort of, it sounds like it's a bit of a basic car, you know, I did what you would expect it to do. Well, this one's got all sorts of different modes and drive. It's soft, it's capable, you know, it's a grown-up car.
Well, we know from previous models, BMW, don't we, in general, they spend their money on the driving experience opposed to technology and stuff, but they obviously have to up their game because of Mercedes and Audi and Porsche and stuff. The technology is a must now, you know, and the touch screens and the big screens and obviously just the way it looks as well. So BMW have had to factor that in, which is probably why the price has gone through the roof as well, yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, we're going to move on, as I say, to this very interesting article, The Great Cars Sure to Be Future Classics from Autocar. We're obviously going to chuck in a few, I guess, of our own, and it's a topic we've touched on every now and again, but what I like about the cars they've selected is these are really modern cars.
Okay.
We often talk about cars from, you know, like the Speciales of Future Classic. These are things that are outright, brand new cars.
Okay, fair.
Some of them are older. Anyway, we're going to get through it. I say this, I haven't actually looked through the full list, so I'm kind of making things up. Now, they've started, I don't think, in the best form, because they're just saying the 992 generation 911, they think is going to be a future classic 911.
Why?
So they say here, firstly, it doesn't need to strive for future classic status because it's a 911. But they're saying that the stunning dynamics and the usability of this generation are going to make it one of the most desirable. the sheer variety of 911s on sale today. Carrera, Carrera S, 4S, Turbo, Turbo S, GTS, GT3. We're going to see the Safari. We're going to see the Turbo. We're going to see all these different variations. The fact that it can do 40 mpg and blend into traffic, all of these different things, I don't think are going to help him. Do you see what I'm saying?
Who says it gets 40 mpg as well?
I guess a Carrera could.
No chance.
I bet a standard Carrera could.
Yeah, on a long
Motorway
run
long, yeah.
doing 20. Yeah, but not average. No chance.
Not all day, every day.
No.
But up to Glasgow and back, you could probably
possibly. Yeah, at 70 mile an hour, bang on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That is the speed limit.
Yeah, but you're allowed 10%.
Everyone keeps saying this to me. I keep going
10% plus 2.
I'll let you try that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the set is falling apart. Those of you not watching on YouTube.
That was me. I just kicked the table.
Oh, okay. You're stamping your feet because you're overexcited again.
No,
Hold on a second.
I mean, it takes me a while to get comfortable. I fidget a bit, and I don't know.
Well, I won't blame you entirely because I did finish setting up this space about half an hour before you arrived, so things are still a bit wobbly.
And I only normally stamp my feet when I got an audience, so there'll be no stamping today.
That's a lie. You stamp your feet when I'm around too, or you bang the table. It's very annoying. So yeah, I think because of the 992, because there are so many iterations now, and it's even more accessible at a standard level, I don't necessarily think people are going to say that this is the generation to have. I think we're seeing 997 celebrated because of the engines. We're seeing 991.2 because of Speedster and touring and things like that. I could understand 911R from 991.1, but I don't think the 992 as a generation is necessarily going to be a special.
No chance, no.
But time will tell, because if they all go electric in 5 years, then
well, then everything that's petrol, it's going to go mental.
So I said that it's a strong list, but
yeah,
it's not the strongest first shout. Next up, though, I am totally in agreement with them. Ferrari Roma.
I saw one of them yesterday morning, and I didn't mention it to you because I forgot.
Come on. So
I've seen a couple now, but I saw it in the petrol station. I popped in to get some fuel on the way here yesterday morning, and the guy had just finished fuel and he was getting out, and I watched him drive off. It sounds quite nice, mate.
But the road presence.
Yeah.
Firstly, it's lower and it's wider than anyone thinks in photos.
Absolutely. It's bigger than what it looks.
It's definitely bigger than what it looks. And it's just got stance, and it's very... I just think it's a beautiful car on the road.
And you think it'd be a modern classic?
Yes.
Really?
Because I think this is it. We'll probably see a Roma S, but I think it's going to be a short-lived car. And the whole point about this car, which has kind of been missed because Ferrari releases new cars every week. Why will it be
short-lived? I don't really understand.
A bit like with the FF or the Lusso. I don't think we're going to see Roma being built for the next 35 years, like the F8 is essentially a 355.
Okay. You think that's a lifestyle car?
Yeah, I don't think it's a lineage. I don't think we're not going to see necessarily this type of car built by Ferrari for years and years to come. So I think the Roma might get a Roma S. And I think then that will die, and there'll be something else.
Okay.
So, what it's supposed to be, this car, theoretically, is harking back to some heritage of the Grand Touring Gentleman.
Yeah.
Semi-accessible Ferrari, semi-usable power, even though it's whatever it is.
Semi-accessible at 200 grand.
But this is the thing, right? We all cry out and we pray, when are Ferrari going to make a 135 grand Dino? It's just not happening.
No chance.
But this is a cheaper Ferrari that can be understated, that is beautiful, that's still got a sort of slight Pininfarina look to it almost.
It is a pretty car.
It's a pretty car. It's a sort of grand, I don't know, there's something about it.
Does it drive properly? Does it drive I've not driven one. Does it drive like a Ferrari? You've driven one.
So I said...
Here we go.
It's the least Ferrari I've ever driven.
Okay.
But it's the best Bentley Continental I've ever driven.
Right, it's somewhere in between.
It's somewhere in between.
Yeah.
It's got this, there's something that you think, there is something Ferrari about this. Okay, so take the Portofino. Are you doing Portofino?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so, hey, look, this is essentially a Portofino. It's a sharper, slightly more urgent Portofino.
Okay.
That, as a package, feels nice to be in.
Okay.
So, it's got the sort of the styling, the looks, the feel, make you feel like you're in that kind of Bentley environment, very nice place to be.
What would you rather have, Bentley or the Roma?
I would have the Roma.
Oh, I'd have the Bentley.
Yeah, I do go back on this quite a lot.
Do you?
The Roma might be a touch. So my concern with Ferrari is 812 Superfast. It's all just a bit too alert for me.
Quick steering on that, like normal Ferraris?
Yes,
okay,
not
fair.
as quick, but quick.
Okay, fair enough.
And that's the thing,
Yeah.
I don't know. I really, really like that car. And yes, if I had a lot of money, I would be ordering one, but I don't have a lot of money. The Bentley I do adore, but the Bentley, you can never get rid of that weight. Even that new GT Speed, there's huge brakes. You can't shed that weight.
All right. I'm going to throw another one in then. And this is
yeah.
What would you have?
A Roma.
Out of all the three?
Yeah, Roma.
You would?
Yeah, out of those three. Just for the dynamic capabilities.
Okay, fair enough.
Turbo S doesn't do enough for me. But anyway, so I think a fair shout. I think a fair shout that could one day be a future classic. Now, this I love. The Renault Zoe.
It's an electric car?
Yes.
And how's that getting on?
Well...
A future classic?
No, but at some point, right, okay, if the world goes EV, we don't think it's the final solution. It might be one potential avenue, but we don't think it's the final solution. But let's say the world does go EV. Some of the early EVs will be seen as like, what is it called? Groundbreaking and an early adopted kind of cars. So they will be celebrated, and they've put in this type, like the Nissan Leaf. I'm doing some work at the minute with Shell and with Nissan and spending some time around the Leaf. It's the second best-selling car in the UK in terms of EVs.
Is it?
Yeah, Leaf is super popular.
What's the best?
Tesla.
Okay.
But the Renault Zoe, it is kind of cute. And so, yeah, it's electric super mini, showed a mass market manufacturer could make a credible, compelling EV long before it was fashionable. And they're right in that. It was one of the very early ones, a bit like with an i3.
Yeah.
They were a very early car that it looked kind of funky. It did a job.
City car,
which is kind of where EVs are at their best.
True.
Yeah. And so, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree the Zoe, but I get where they're going with this.
I can't see an electric car being a future classic because
it won't turn on.
Even when it does, not going to go far. Yeah. But what I mean is we don't think it's going to be the end goal, but it's definitely the solution for now.
The short-term
solution. And they're always going to be around. I don't think it's the end goal. I think they're going to sort something out. I think because again, if they don't, and we definitely are going all electric, and it is the end goal, I think that kiss goodbye to your valuable petrol cars, and I mean that's another segment.
Yeah,
but let's hope for all these collectors and all these people, because I genuinely think your collection guys will be worthless. I mean, you can disagree with me,
it's a piece of art.
It's just a piece of art, yeah, because the government will just say, no,
you can't drive.
Well, there's no petrol.
Well, I think as a piece of art, could it be worth even more? Because look at pieces of art. I mean, fairly ridiculous things that people stare at, and they're paying hundreds and hundreds of mils. So there's no reason why a Zonda couldn't be classified as a piece of art that you want to display in your room as look at what automotive manufacturing was at some point.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pay 75 mil to stare at it. I think that could happen. But
select stuff, possibly.
Yeah,
you're
not a
right,
Renault Zoe.
but not a normal combustion 911 unless it's a special one, or like normal you know where I'm going. Like
I totally see what you're saying. I think fundamentally we've got so much to figure out over the next 5 to 10 years, which actually is exciting. I don't think it's daunting. I think it's exciting.
No.
And one thing which has really interestingly happened since we took our break, basically during our summer break, hydrogen has really started to come to the agenda, to the forefront. We were whispering about it. We were hinting at it last year. Whenever we started talking about EVs in the future, we always said that we're big into the biofuels. So Porsche have just broken ground in that new biofuels factory,
which we kind of got because they don't invest a load of money. These big manufacturers in general, they won't put their money where their mouth is unless they believe in something. It's why they do motor racing. It's why they, it's all development and groundbreaking stuff. So we always had an inkling that there was probably going to be another path because of how these manufacturers have decided to invest.
That's exactly it. And then hydrogen. We've seen more and more cars being announced that are using hydrogen fuel cells, public transportation, development of hydrogen fuel cells. Formula One, obviously, still with the big push towards biofuels, which I think is the route to go. But they're still talking in their area about what they're going to be doing. So we're seeing more and more, as much as manufacturers and cars on sale are becoming electric. We're also seeing more talk in the news about other potential alternative power sources.
Yeah,
so it's an interesting time.
And let's get this right. The combustion engine isn't the problem. It's what goes in it.
Absolutely.
That's the problem.
But the other problem is that the world is, well, there's many different parts of the world. And we've said it before, is a solution for London is not a good solution for deepest, darkest China, or some parts of Africa, or even some parts of America. Like, if you're in Alaska, you don't want to have to be trying to find a hydrogen fuel cell, or you don't want to have to be charging an electric car. So there's so much that needs to be worked out. But I get where they're going with this autocar, in the sense where some electric cars we will look back on and go, wow, like that was pretty groundbreaking at the time. That really took us forward a big step. Like, what a thing. And there will be a time where our kids or a younger generation will go, can you believe it used to take them an hour to charge a car?
Yeah.
What would they do? What were they doing during that time?
What were they doing? Yeah.
Anyway, we move on. Now, this is a car that we definitely agree on, and we've spoken about a lot before. 675 LT. Okay, fine. Not brand new, but I mean, there's a part of us that should be going out and buying this car. We keep talking about how it will be a future classic.
If it wasn't McLaren, I would have bought one already.
Yeah, but you say this. We've often... I think the coupes didn't have their issues. The Spiders didn't have that many issues.
No.
And I still so
I prefer the coupe, though.
I prefer the coupe. It's so desirable, though.
Yeah.
What a thing.
I honestly think that's almost a classic now.
Yeah,
that's only 6 years old.
It's a modern classic desirability.
Already. I know it's only 6 years old, but yeah.
We spoke about this on the F1 podcast last week. Unbelievable that one McLaren victory can suddenly make their road cars a little bit more desirable. Because Paul McLaren, and I literally said this to Paul, went for 10 years launching a road car brand whilst their F1 team that it was all based on and pulling on their heartstrings of went to crap.
Yeah.
And now suddenly one victory, and I'm like, oh, I really want a McLaren again.
Yeah.
Weird that.
Yeah.
Toyota GT86. I don't know necessarily future classic, but I think a car that's always going to be desirable, like an MX-5.
Well, yeah, but almost you're correct, but when you look at Subarus and Evos, I mean, look how desirable they are now, mate, and they were homologation cars. So, I mean, I know someone that's bought one of them that's not ever he bought two, one to use and one to just leave for 30 years. Yeah, so I'm just going to leave it. Yeah. Because he genuinely believes that it will be a proper sought after thing.
You never know. No. I mean, I say, like, a very desirable car now, and why wouldn't it be in another 20, 30 years? So yeah, a good shout with that. And I know you keep knocking me and my Nissan Z, but it's a similar kind of makeup, and I'm a fan. Honda E. We've just had this sort of whole topic, so I'm going to skim past it relatively quickly. When that Honda E launched in Geneva, do you remember when it launched in Geneva?
I do, yeah.
It was kind of cool.
Yeah, because it was something we'd not seen before. It was the design of it and the inside,
looking,
very retro,
but very modern.
Literally looked like a prototype.
Yeah,
but actually come out. Yeah.
But so I can see where they're headed. But I'm a bit like, it's the same argument with the Zoe. There will be certain EVs that stand out and that stand the test of time. Now this is a weird one. Suzuki Ignis. I'm going to read the actual article here because...
Why?
I don't... that's what I'm saying. So, picking a Ferrari, Porsche, BMW, McLaren, Morgan to champion from this list is a bit of a cop-out, isn't it? I mean, of course they're future classics. They're cars of a status that could hardly be any greater as it is. Much better to pick a quirky little Japanese city car that a lot of people wouldn't look at twice. If you know the Suzuki Ignis, you will rate and love it, and you won't be wanted to be parted from it. That's why it's a dead cert collectible waiting to happen.
All right. So where's the Jimny? Is that in there?
Maybe.
Because that should be.
They make a fair point that, as we're seeing now, Japanese cars are having a real second life, second wind.
But that's because the American market, though, mate.
You're so right. They can start to import them.
Correct.
Is it 20 years?
25 years.
25 years. So then inherently the values go up as people try and buy them and import them.
Supply and demand.
Supply and demand.
Yeah.
Suzuki Ignis feels a little like out there for me. Like if they'd gone with like a rare Civic Type R that they, limited, like the Focus RS Red Edition or whatever,
Yeah, 299 of them apparently.
As one of our attendees for the event kept telling us. But yeah, this Ignis,
not for me.
Not for me. Alpine A110. Yes.
Really?
Yes, because just a forgotten, overlooked car that anyone who drives it loves it but never buys, which is the interesting part. Fascinating case study of a company making a car that they wanted to make and not really being bent over backwards by some kind of bigger header board or target, things like that. The power to weight's insane. The actual feeling in the car, the weight distribution, everything about it, was supposed to be Caterham. It's supposed to be Caterham or Lotus? It's supposed to be
Competes with the
Caterham.
Cayman, don't it?
Yeah, was it? I can't remember who's developed it with it first. It was Caterham.
Was it?
I'm sure it was supposed to be a Caterham. Anyway, just a very cool thing.
Yeah.
It's not long for this world. I think the next Alpine is going to be electric. So I think people will look back on that like they do on the original one. It's nowhere near the original rally car.
No.
A cool thing either way.
Yeah.
Up GTI.
I've just bought one of them literally
you have
today.
not.
You know,
Really?
You know the little red one that was here yesterday? We spoke last time she come. And she's one of our viewers.
Yeah.
And she said, I'm ready to sell now, Tony. I'll give you a call. And I've just bought it this morning. Yeah.
Oh my! Can I come and drive it?
Of course you can.
I've never driven one.
Really?
Yeah, I've always loved the idea of it. I've never driven one.
So have you driven a Mark 1 Golf GTI?
Nope.
Okay. So in characteristics, it's fairly similar. It is different, but I think that's where they kind of went with it.
Sure.
I think.
Simple, hot hatch,
Very
fun,
simple. Yeah.
I think that's so cool. I think they look great. And I'm all for a 3-door hatchback.
Yeah.
3-door. Who needs all these 5 doors?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. And the interior. Very cool. Yeah. So
They do
I'm
a
with
5-door though.
They do a 5-door up?
Yeah, I think the one I've just bought is 5-door.
Oh, okay. Well, I want the 3-door.
Okay. Like you want a 3-door Defender.
Yeah.
So you pay.
I still do, Tony.
You pay as much money for a bit of inconvenience.
So when
Story of your life.
When I took the GT3 to Wales, I stayed overnight in a hotel once, and a guy rocked up in an all-black, fully kitted out, the adventure pack, 90 Defender, and I spent all night staring at it, going
New shape one,
going I just still, I know it's impractical. I know it will annoy me.
You live in London.
I live in London. But the Twiggy actually really loved it. You can't fit anything in it. There's just a part. You know what? I just want to live with one for a bit. They are cool.
Land Rover, give him a car for God's sake. Please just give him a car. Yeah, just give him a car.
I tell you what though. In a couple of weeks, we're getting Andrew from Alexander's Prestige to come on.
Is he?
We're going to be doing a special because the man is obsessed with super SUVs.
Right.
So all these things that we slag off, RSQ8s and Uruses, he buys them all. He's obsessed. So
he buys them for himself?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Personally.
As personal
and
cars.
He has tons of cars coming through.
As family cars.
Yeah. So I want to get him in because I had to pick his brains because I didn't realise anyone actually bought these cars. So I just want to know.
It's about 50% of the market, but okay.
No, but that big, the big stuff.
SUV. Yeah,
I'm not talking about your standard Q8.
Yeah, no.
He's doing the big baller stuff.
SVRs.
Oh yeah,
RSQ8s,
well and above that.
Yeah. Bentley Bentegas, Uruses.
And we were catching up just when we both got back from the holidays, and he said, "Oh, what are you doing with your X3 and stuff?" And I said, "Oh, it's good." He goes, "Mate, you got to change it up. There's so many better." And I was like, "Oh my god!" So I get the feeling he's going to put pressure on, and I don't know if he leans towards it. Anyway, it's going to be an interesting one. So hopefully you're not both going to gang up on me at the same time. But
we will, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that coming. Anyway, moving on. BMW i3 goes within that same. So I think i8 and i3. I think i8 potentially could be a future classic.
Yeah, because that was groundbreaking when that come out. That was a real wow moment.
Disappointing.
It was disappointing, yeah.
But groundbreaking. And yeah, you're right. It was a new thing. And it's still this day, most non-car nerds like us will go like, wow, what is that thing?
It does drive well as well,
Yeah, but it's slow.
It is slow, but so's a Mark 1 R8.
Yeah, I know, but this is not a Mark 108. It's a brand new i8.
Right, but I know what I'd have out the two.
No, you would not. That's a lie. That is a lie.
A V8 R-Tronic Mark 1 R8 or an BMW i8. i8 all day long.
Okay, you said the R-Tronic bit. I forgot about the R-Tronic. I was thinking.
They're both auto. You have to compare auto with auto.
No, fair, okay, fine. You're right. Yeah, it is cool, the i8, but I don't know. I don't really like the design that much. I basically don't like it.
You like a 3-door Defender.
I love a 3-door. I just need Ineos to hurry up and make that damn Grenadier. Anyway, moving on. A car. I mean, I feel like Autocar maybe listened to us when they helped build this list.
They definitely listen to us because there's some cars on there.
Next up, Giulia Quadrifogio.
Yeah.
Hands down.
I would agree with that.
So, in our trip that I teased last week, our Euro trip, I was chatting to my mate at the Alfa factory last week. He might try and bring over a GTAM for us to have a play.
That's good. Yeah,
That'd be good, right?
That will be good, yeah.
Okay, so keep our fingers crossed with that. But yeah, Giulia Quadrifogio, 100% will be lusted after for years to come, and people will realise just how good it is.
Just please, Alfa Romeo, your next one you make, please do something with the inside. I mean, I'm looking at a picture. Please, just make it like a BMW or an Audi inside. You've absolutely cracked it at that point.
The design isn't horrific, but the infotainment is is 10 years
It's
behind everything
terrible.
else. The dials, you're just behind.
You are.
For 10 years ago, you'd be like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
But it's not right. And when you consider what the Germans and other Europeans and Japanese are doing, it's all different level. Oh, no, auto car. Oh, no. Who paid you for this? Aston Martin DBX.
No chance. Absolutely.
Okay. But.
Can't even sell them.
But. That often helps something become a future classic, by the way. Could
The
this
museum car, you mean?
Yeah, the museum car. Could this be the LM002 of Aston Martin?
No.
Do you not think if it's like, okay, so the Rapide I'm obsessed with obviously hasn't
Why
really
do you
done
like that car, mate?
Mate, it's a 4-door V12 Vantage.
They don't make it no more.
No.
So, exactly, because they don't sell them. It's crap.
It's crap, but that's why it's good.
Oh.
Anyway, let's not get into that because.
So, in your mind, everything that doesn't work and that's
It's not
crap
about
is
not working.
good.
No, it's not about not working. It's about character and personality. I don't like perfection. Hey, in some cases I love perfection. But when it comes to cars,
We can see you don't like perfection, by the
Shut
way.
shut up. When it comes to cars, I don't like a car that does everything fantastically isn't for me.
But this is the world we live in, mate.
I know, but it's not for me.
Right.
I like things that are flawed. And actually, I should like
Well, we
the
can
DBX
tell
'cause
that.
it's flawed.
Let's go through some of your cars. They're all flawed. F-Type, I would argue, is not. That is a great car. It has got its imperfections compared to a 911.
Yeah.
But it is a great car, that F-Type.
Agreed.
4C, terrible.
Terrible.
I'm not going to go in on the 360 because it's an old car. Let's talk about modern cars. 540C, terrible.
Why?
What? Don't work.
Okay, but
Doesn't work, mate.
Yeah, go on. Okay, fine.
3-door Defender.
I haven't bought that.
But you're going to.
You
It doesn't
forgot
work.
the other cars I had, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
No, Cayman works. That's a good car, but you didn't like it. 911T that you took around the world. I think you liked it because you took it around the world, but actually you wouldn't rush out and go buy another
Because
one.
it wasn't flawed.
Because it was a good car.
Exactly. Didn't like it.
What else?
Abarth 695 Proposto, loved it because it was absolutely pointless.
But I actually got that car.
You understood it.
I
didn't you?
understood that car, because that it had something about it. It was a.
That's what I'm saying, though. Stop
but
eating
there's-
your own words.
Yeah, but there's not many, mate. There's like them others that I reeled off. They were awful, just awful cars.
But they had something about them.
Yeah, they didn't work.
Yeah,
They
something like that.
all had the same in common.
Can we get back to this list, please? It's becoming far too common that you spend the whole episode slagging off my own cars. So the DBX for me, I think just a disaster that Aston Martin wouldn't want to forget, but
Supposed to save the company. That.
supposed to say the company. But there could be a time when it's seen as like, that Lagonda, the original long, wide Lagonda thing, or there's a chance that in 20 years, I'll be like, can you believe Aston built an SUV? Like, what a quirky looking thing.
Well, I think they will probably continue to build it because obviously that's going to take the Rapide's place. Yes, they're probably not going to make that. They will continue to build it, but I think what's saving Aston at the moment is the convertible Valkyrie because they've just got a load of money off a load of people again.
Well, actually, I don't think they have.
Really?
Spoke to a friend over the weekend.
Dear.
He was a Valkyrie coupe customer who bailed, and they can't sell the Spider slots now. And so a lot of the coupe guys have switched over to the Spider.
Which is what I thought they'd do.
They can't get rid of their coupes, and there's a bit of a
I knew that was coming, but
disaster.
that is a disaster.
disaster.
Yeah.
M2 competition.
No.
I'm going to say no, but I am going to say M2 CS. I am because look at any of those specials. Look at the M3. I forget all their names now. The orange one. That was
I'm going to say M2. The normal.
just a bog standard M2.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a bit like the 1M.
That started it. Yeah.
Yeah, a bit like the 1M. But I think the CS will be looked back on very favourably. Those special edition German things are sought after.
Yeah.
But not.
Have you seen, while we're on the subject of BMW special, the DTM and the GTS? Don't see many of them now, do they?
Really don't.
Really don't.
And they still
Oddly
fetch a
come
fair
up.
few pennies, theoretically.
Yeah, 70, 80
GTS,
grand.
that was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
By the way,
Yeah.
The DTM, I think, was pointless. Always was.
Well, it was basically the same as a GTS.
Yeah, GTS was cool.
Yeah.
Even though I've just slagged off a car which was identical. the DTM just like a couple of canards, didn't it? I had like this had
Pretty
some paint or
much.
something like that.
Yeah.
Stupid thing.
Yeah.
Fiesta ST. Really?
Well, not the new one, because it's got. But Fiesta STs in general. I mean, anything ST and RS always holds its weight in, that modern classic. It's a go-to car for people, isn't it?
The point that Autocar make, given that in 50 years' time, some of the youngest people reading this today will be in their 60s and 70s, and that we always want what we couldn't have when we were younger.
But you can have them now.
Well, not if you're skint.
Well, that's saying a lot of things that you can't have.
But that's the whole point. That's what we see in the market, isn't it? The cars that we wanted or we couldn't afford or we wanted when we were young. When you make some money, you go out and buy.
Yeah, but mostly that's like 911s or what we're seeing now. It's like sports cars and supercars. It's not little.
Depends where you are in the world. Depends what you.
I guess.
I still want a Golf R32, massive Mark IV R32. I desperately want, because that was when I passed my test. I got a Golf Mark IV, but it was a 1.4 litre, and I longed after an R32.
So what they're saying is like that car is going to be like one of them Golf or the mod, like the equivalent to the 205 GTI now.
Exactly. That's what they're saying.
No, I don't think so.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Coming towards the end of our list, Porsche Cayenne. Maybe that turbo GT thing, but
no.
The old GTSs are doing well. The Gen 1 Cayenne GTSs are starting to pick up.
Are they?
Yeah. I think they're a beep to run. But
they are.
Yeah.
They are.
But they're
really expensive.
812 Superfast.
Last naturally aspirated Ferrari.
Like all V12 Ferraris, that will be just fine.
Yeah.
And then they're saying Morgan three-wheeler.
Is that still? Do they still make that?
I mean,
no.
I think they've been making it for 70 years, haven't they?
No, really?
Yeah.
I thought they stopped making that like ages ago.
No, they
still
keep
make
going,
it.
and they're about to make the electric one as well. You know.
Mm.
You know what? Fair play, Autocar. Good list.
Thank you.
Would you chuck anything else on there real quick?
Not that I can think of.
No, so let's move on.
Yeah. I'm glad they've done that list and not us.
Let us know below. Comment, what do you think? Real modern future classics. I don't want things. I mean, the LT snuck in there, but I don't want Speciales and Performantes. I was saying that right now. Right now. Defender 90. Anyway. So, Tony, talk to me about the used car market.
Oh. Well, how far do you want me to go back? Where do you want me to start?
I don't really want you to go back. What I want to understand is, firstly, are we still in an increasing value market?
No.
So things that you think have leveled off, but leveled off inherently high, or they're coming back down?
So I haven't seen down yet. I have seen leveled off for sure in the last 5-6 weeks, 100%. Because, listen, we as a business have been buying cars for more than what we were selling them for pre-COVID.
Okay, wow.
So, we're talking 20% increases, So it was never ever going to carry on, because what some manufacturers have got now, problems, they've created the problem because there's no new cars. There's too many cars that are too close to list now. For instance, Caymans, even just normal 2.5 Caymans, GTSs, for example, Macan GTSs, even like normal diesel Macans that were late 30s retail last year. We're paying for the same car with more mileage, paying trade 40 grand for them now.
Wow.
Yeah. So obviously, and then we got a margin on top of that. So inherently, they've gone up 6,000-7,000 quid. Not saying that's our margin, but and there's more miles on them. But that's because you can't get a new one. It's always driven by it's always supply and demand. And the biggest increase, it's not my market, but from what people tell me, is the lower end. So what I'm saying is £1,000 cars, 1,500 quid cars, they've doubled in value.
Wow.
Yeah, where they're now 3,000 quid and 4,000 quid, and it's gone because there's just no cars, mate. It's really odd.
And so this is all tied into the lack of delivery of new cars, lack of availability of new cars. So people are going to the used market and therefore pushing values up.
Well, originally it was spiked by all this money that people hadn't spent for over a year. So when we come out of lockdown 1, and the motor trade went mad in terms of people buying cars. That was fueled by furlough and grants and
people just were cash rich
and loans. So this next spike that happened this year wasn't fueled by that. It was fueled by just 300 billion quid in people's accounts in these countries that they didn't go on holiday. They, for a whole more than a year, 18 months, they didn't go out on restaurants and they didn't buy clothes. You know, initially you buy clothes online, but once you bought, what do you want to buy clothes for? You can't go out.
Can't go anywhere.
You can't go out.
Dressed up to go to your living room.
When we was all allowed out again, your two biggest purchases in life is house and car. We saw the house market do that and the car market exactly the same. And there was a boom. And the reason why I think it's leveled out now is because I think everyone's purchased what they want to purchase, firstly. And car prices have just got to that point now. They can't keep going up, mate. It had to level off at some point. And like I said, we have seen that now where it has started to level off. Now, will the decline be the same as the increase? No. I would say no chance.
In terms of its rate or in terms of how far they will drop?
How quickly it'll go back down.
So the rate of decrease.
It will always be steady. And again, this is all fueled by the manufacturers. And how it works is I was telling people yesterday because they were asking me, is that what's been happening over the last year or so is that the used car market and the punters have been having the money. Whereas in general, it comes from the top. The manufacturers have the money, but there's no top. So it's got to go from middle to down. So that's where the money's come from. The money's here. It's not there anymore. It's not in the power of the manufacturer because they haven't got the supply to give to the middle ground, essentially.
Okay.
If you get what I mean.
Yeah,
so it all comes on levels. If you look at levels and percentages, that's how it's worked out.
So the thing which I've trying to get my head around is that I know lots of friends who've gone, oh, market's so hot right now, I'm going to sell my car. Like I wasn't thinking about it, but I've been offered decent money, I'm going to sell my car. Now, that I understand. What I don't understand is who's buying, because one thing I'm aware of is the market's hot. I mean, Challenge to Dies, which I watch regularly, are selling strong again, right-hand drive examples. Project 7's selling fairly strong. Even Project 8's are starting to climb back up. So all the cars that I'm regularly watching are selling high. So if I had the money, I'd be like, I'm going to wait. Like, I'm not going to shop right now. So do you not think, who's buying, firstly? And secondly, are they not adding to that problem? Because it just keeps that market going up. People are encouraged to sell for high. People are prepared to spend lots of money.
Well, the people that have sold for high, and I completely agree because I bought loads of cars for that reason. But people that have sold them because they don't need them anymore, they don't want them, and actually they bought them last year pre-COVID, and now they decided they just don't need them. Now in this pandemic as well, most sectors have done okay because we've all been propped up by the government. And no matter what you say about this government, whatever they've done wrong or right, and I'm not going to get into the political values of it, they have kept the country financially on the straight and narrow.
I'm sure if you're in hospitality, you would feel pretty differently. But you're right, many other sectors have been able to continue and have been supported in some shape or form. And heck, we are operating as a country economically right now. Yeah. So you're right. There's been pros and cons, but fundamentally, hey, look, people are buying and selling cars. So,
and we was in a recession last year, right? Mm-hmm. We're not now. I don't think I'd need to look, but as we stand, I don't think we are. We were in a recession, and in a recession, in general, it's middle management that suffer and the £10 an hour people, which is hospitality, pubs. It's all that in general, unless you work for the public sector, as in nursing, or you're always fine. But
just getting shit paid.
And you have to clap your hands because again, they're another reason why the country stayed alive, because of them incredible people. Again, that's another story. But the reason why the cars have done what they've done, and houses as well, is because people weren't affected like they thought they were going to be affected, and actually they've come out better off. They've had the furlough money, and the people that have got a bit about them have gone out and got another job, So they've earned some more money and they're not spending it. So that's a big thing, mate. If you're earning money, the same money, you're still going to work, but you're not spending it and you're saving thousands of quid a month, which you wouldn't normally. You think, right, sod it. I'm going to treat myself. Been locked up for a year. I'm going to move house, or I'm going to buy myself a new car. I'm going to do my garden. I'm going to buy myself some new clothes. And no matter what tier you're in, you spend all your money. And that's what's happened.
I can see that, and I think so. Therefore, what's your thought on people? Because there's definitely some other people that I know who are seeing this and going, "Oh, well, now's a great. There's lots of money to be made within the car space because of these sort of values." Now, do we think modern classics? The other side of it, right, is that there's this sort of burgeoning interest in modern classics. Old is now gold, right? So, hey, cars from 5-10 years ago were just better. They're more desirable. We're seeing it with the likes of Carrera GTs going to up to £1 million. We're seeing, what we were looking at the other day, or the Japanese cars, so lots of cars increasing in value. And that's not just a supply and demand thing. That's a shift in what people want, the desirability.
Yeah.
So there's even a space now where new collectors or people come to the market going, this is a good time to try and flip cars or trying to make money on cars, because not only is there a demand for used, but also there's an increased demand for old.
But that is always fueled by money, mate. It's fueled by money, because these people might not have had the money to buy these cars last year because their businesses were on their arse, or for whatever reason they didn't have the money. Now they have, because their businesses haven't been affected. They've been better off. So they think, where they're on the peripherals and they're worried, and you've got the factor of, sod it, unfortunately, I lost my mum or my dad, or, I lost someone close to me because of COVID. I'm going to go and spend some money. We're only here once. We all live once. And it's just, when one person, it's really peculiar how this world works, because it's a domino effect. When one person does it, the next person does it, and the next person does it. And it's like Chinese whispers. And we see it all the time, where we sell a car. We might have a car for 6 weeks in stock, say. We sell a car, the very next day we take 3 other calls on it. Wow. And we hadn't had a call on it before. It's just like something switches in someone's brain.
Sure.
And that's just what's happened. I think everyone's just gone crazy. But that's stopped now.
Well, it's stopped, but if you're thinking about potentially selling your car, maybe you hadn't thought about it and you want to find out how much it's now worth, give Tony a call.
That's very good. That's very good. Because I really do need some cars still.
But also you might surprise yourself, because, hey, that X3, lol. A BMW every now and then do call me up, because they always want it back, because they know it's a desirable car.
Because you can't get a new one either.
You can't get a new one, and everyone wants the 40i's or the 40D's. So every 2 or 3 months I get a call from 2 or 3 different BMW dealerships saying, hey, would you consider selling? And 6 months ago, whenever it was, and I got a settlement quote, it's gone up again.
He was in front.
I'm saying, like, oh my God. Maybe I just get rid of the damn thing. Oh, I know.
But the problem is for you is that, like most people as well, if you're selling to buy something else, it's pointless unless you really want it.
You've still got to pay the high.
There is still a shortage of used cars, by the way. There is a shortage, but I think most of them have just found their plateau where they can only go up a certain amount, And I think they've all found their ground now. It's certainly in my market, for sure. I can't speak about all the markets, especially the classic market, because it's not my field. But certainly in the everyday market, it's definitely plateaued.
Well, to hype even further future episodes of this podcast, you spoke about classics. There's some things going on which I will reveal soon. I can't reveal just yet, but I think towards the end of this month or the beginning of October, a big new exciting sort of opportunity for anyone who's into cars, especially more the classic-minded cars, that we'll be able to chat more about. And I think we're going to have a guest on who'll be able to touch a lot more about what the classic car space is doing and some of the opportunities in that classic car space. So anyway, that's all. I'm not going to say much more about that than there, but that would be a very cool episode. But yeah, hey, look, it's an interesting time, and I think it's an exciting time for cars and petrolheads. It's an expensive time, but there's stuff going on. I feel like the car market seems strong at the moment. There seems to be options, opportunities.
It's strong because there's a shortage. This is why the used car market is strong at the moment, because dealers in general and punters are all fighting over the same cars. In general, that doesn't happen because there's plenty to go around.
So maybe because I'm not in it, it's exciting because I'm like, wow, so much is, it's all happening. So,
and what else has had an effect as well, that you guys wouldn't necessarily see, the general public, is these big online businesses that have come around the last couple.
Cars.
Well, that's not what I was thinking.
Oh, okay,
I was thinking more like Cinch or
Kazoo. Kazoo, yeah.
Yeah,
Kazoo,
they're the
Cinch,
two. So what's happened with Air is that most people will probably know, and if you don't know, I'm going to tell you. We Buy Any Car is owned by British Car Auctions, BCA. Cinch is also owned by British Car Auctions,
I had no
BCA.
idea.
Yeah. So what happens is, so they've got a wholesale arm now and a retail arm.
Amazing.
So what's happened is that that's strengthened. I don't go to auction, but it has strengthened auction prices, because what Cinch are doing, they're picking off all the good cars and putting them into their retail section.
Genius.
So yeah, it's genius.
Absolute
from their point of view, because they've cut the middleman out, as in the independent dealer, and they've got a wholesale and a retail and a middleman. So they're having free bites of the cherry, essentially. So that's pushed car prices up as well, because it's all about demand. Over the last couple of years, these companies are selling thousands and thousands of cars a month. Obviously, they're all losing money at the moment, but this is all to do with share prices and stuff. They'll get to a point and they'll float, and then they'll sell up, and that's the way they make their money. But their first 5 years, they budget to lose 200 million quid or something. But eventually, in business, it does turn around. If you keep plummeting money in, it will come back round. Collecting cars have their own niche.
It's an enthusiast section, isn't it?
If I'm honest, I like what they do. I don't think it affects the market in any way. I don't think...
Don't you think it reflects the market rather than affects the market?
Not from my point of view, because maybe in their I think they're still fairly niche, collecting cars. They found their niche and they've done very well, and you can't knock Ed for what he's done.
What he's doing.
Or what he's doing. Yeah, he's expanding the business, and good luck to him. Is, fair play. But I unfortunately, the market dictate, the punters and the market dictate the market.
Of course, but I think that's why that site, in my mind, is so good or so genius, is that they almost just allow it to happen. As you say, any car's worth what someone's willing to pay for it.
For sure.
And anyone who's buying the cars on that site, because they are sort of enthusiast or specialist cars, usually interesting or quirky, anyone's buying kind of roughly knows what they should be paying for that car.
Yeah.
Or at least they've done their research. And of course, as with any auction, you're going to get some people who are very keen are going to pay a little bit over, some stuff's going to go a little bit under. But fundamentally, most stuff comes out about right in terms of market value.
Market value, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's not that you're going there. I think, hey, look, I had an amazing experience with my 911, the 996 when I sold it. Super easy. I was super happy with what it sold for. The guy bought it was really, really nice.
Yeah.
And happy day. So as a seller, great experience.
For sure.
I'm sure you could have bad experiences as a seller, but that's the risk of going to auction, and I guess why you use a reserve.
Bad experiences at auctions and dealers, I'm sure. I don't think there's any different, but I just think collecting cars as a model, as good as it is, I don't think it's big enough. I think for you to really affect a market, I think you need to be a conglomerate. Yeah,
I think this has made it an exciting way to buy specialist or enthusiast cars, from that point of view. But yeah, I agree. I wouldn't say it's affecting the market, but I do think it's reflective, and it helps someone like me, as I keep an eye on Project 7 values or Challenge Fidali values, because it's kind of reflective. Okay, that's kind of what someone's willing to pay for. That's what the demand's at. These are cars that are semi-desirable. How quickly are they selling? How many views? So it's super interesting. But yeah, hey, look, as I say, for me as an outsider just watching, I think it's a cool time because I'm seeing cars coming and going. There seems to be a lot of interest, and it's not like there's an inherent value and then no one's buying them. You're not sticking cars up at loads of money and no one wants it, which obviously the market wouldn't work. But it's just going to be interesting to see moving forward with, modern car manufacturers trying to push the EVs and deliver those. But then also there's still being a delay. People thinking, or enthusiasts wanting older cars, values going up. It's an interesting time.
So I can let the general public into a little bit of a secret. I already know it, but I'll let you in on it. When you see, for instance, on advertising platforms like Auto Trader, stock back up to over 500,000.
On the total number of cars on Auto Trader, over 500,000?
Over 500,000, it means that stock levels are back to where they were before because that was average what there was on there, and now they're at 390 or something.
Okay.
So there's a huge gulf. So for instance, if you go from at that point, they're 20% down advertising. So you have to use Auto Trader and these big. And the reason why I say Auto Trader because it's the big advertising platform.
Sure.
They don't write checks for cars, but it is the biggest advertising platform for dealers, essentially. So when they're short, the markets, there's no cars.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. Only because I think we could talk about this for probably hours and hours.
Yeah, we can, yeah.
I think we need to revisit it. That's always the best thing to do. Maybe towards Christmas, see what's happened, see what's changed. What I'd love to know is what's happening in your country. I know America's seeing a very similar thing at the minute with crazy values on the used market, especially on Bring a Trailer and things like that. So yeah, wherever you are in the world, because lots of you are listening from lots of different countries, comment below if you're watching on YouTube. Let us know, is the used market insane in your country right now, or are things pretty normal? We'd love to find out.
And as well, we see very often that people comment from other countries and they still can't believe how cheap our cars are.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody about 992 GT3s because somebody offered me a build slot in Europe, and they were only asking 10 grand over list, but the car still made it was 185 grand.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh dude, like one spec'd up here is like 140 grand for me. He was like, what?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's insane in that side of view. So yeah, let us know. We'd be fascinated. But hey, it's been good to do a studio episode.
Yeah. Been a bit odd.
I've been waiting to like look at people and catch people's eyes, and they're not here. So maybe that just means we need to do more live shows. But we hope you guys have enjoyed it and you're happy to hear us back in our studio setting. So yeah, give it a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube and you have enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss future episodes. If you want to follow Tony, he's at Tony Gravelwood Car Sales on most social media platforms, and I'm at Seen Through Glass on most social media platforms. We will be back with you next week for another episode. Bye bye.